Okay, since a lot of people seem to be having trouble with this one part of the skyscale collection, I'm going to make a little guide to help with it. So, if you don't know what the skyscale collection is, I'll give a really quick explanation. The skyscale collection is like a really long and tedious and long-winded quest line in another type of MMO, except in Guild Wars 2, it's a collection. This particular part covers a lot of the things you have to do to a skyscale egg. So, at the previous part of the skyscale collection, you first had to get a bunch of skyscale scales off the ground, which is a tongue twister to say 20 times in a row, and you had to get all the scales, and then you have to after that you have to go and get a bunch of eggs, which were all part of a collection, and then once you've done that, Goric, a character that's it plays a big part in the Living World Season 4 story. You do a lot of stuff with him, who then give you a skyscale egg to take care of, and you have to go and do all these insane things with the egg. Like, for example, for the skyscale fire collection, you have to touch a heap of fire sources and pretty much dip the egg in fire. Then for the skyscale of blood, you pretty much have to kill enemies and let the egg be covered in blood. It's kind of nuts what you have to do to actually raise and care for a skyscale. I'm not sure how it would ever be sound of mind after this, but that's not what you're here for. What you're here for is, as the video title suggests, it's how to deal with a certain amount of digens, or digens, how you spell it. So, pronounce it. So, one of the first things that you need to start some of the skyscale collection, such as the skyscale collection of fire here, and also the skyscale collection of ice, and the skyscale collection of earth, or maybe it was growth. I forget which one, and one last one, which was the skyscale collection of air. So, in order to do that, you need to talk to a bunch of digens. And the thing is, the wiki is really not that clear about what you should do. So here's the page about one of the digens you have to talk to, and it pretty much just says that he's at the Hanging Gardens in the Zangor Cliffs, which I am going to go to after a small cut where I actually get in-game and go there. But it doesn't really say how you have to access him or do anything like that. And then there's another page for Grand Elder Digen Emmy, who is also... It's really convoluted how you get to talk to him, and it really doesn't say what you have to do here. It just says like about his biography, so what he did, and in the dialogue, so when you talk to him. But it doesn't really show how to spawn him. So I'm gonna get to that right now. Just let me put a quick cut in so I can get to in-game, so I can actually switch to a screen where I'm in-game, because I do have the game loaded and I'm at the correct place. Okay, so here we are in-game. Please ignore the tiny little golem right next to me and what it's named. That's a part of the main story, and that's not important for now. So, here is where I am. I'm at the Hanging Gardens, well, not Hanging Gardens, the Kodesh Bazaar, which is a place where a big fight in the story goes down, and all around it, it's branded. So what will happen is that if you're not under some cover, which means there's not anything hanging over you, protecting you, or you're not under one of these crystals, which a bunch of Digen have created to ensure that people have safe areas to be. If you just go out into the average world like so, you get this effect on you, which is basically saying, hey, you're right in a brainstorm, lightning will repeatedly strike you unless you're undercover. The worst thing about this lightning, I don't know why this is, but if you're on a mount, the lightning will actually burn the mount, as you can see there. Pretty much making it so that its health will go down and down and down. It's impossible to keep your mount alive. Unless, of course, you use a certain type of mount that I'll be using right now, and that is the skimmer. For some odd reason, and I don't understand this at all, the skimmer just does not get hit by lightning no matter what, even if you're right in the open. I don't understand it. I'm just going to go with it. It's at this point moon logic to me. If you don't know what that means, moon logic is basically insane logic that was used in really old puzzle adventure games. It just makes no sense. So, once you've gotten to this waypoint, which I suggest basically getting to this waypoint first, and the Necropolis waypoint, and then just using your skimmer to go across here, because that's a bit of quicksand, that's a bit more quicksand, and the skimmer can get over quicksand, and then you just go through here, and if you need to, get under an overhang, use your springer to jump over, go here, and then you finally arrive at the Market Ruins waypoint. So, now from there, you just go over here to this here, overhang and you get as far forward as you can on this thing. Then you can dismount once you're in here because it's a safe location, and then you glide over. Or you use your griffin, either one. But I just find I like gliding the best because for some odd reason when you're gliding, you also don't get struck by the brandstorm. I don't understand why, frankly, but I'm not going to question it. Yeah, so I'm not even aiming for like this part of the building or anything. I'm just aiming for this little part here because I know that if I end up landing on there, everything is good, I'm safe, and then I can just get out my Springer and start going around and jumping over like this little overhang thing here. Anyway, now that you're here, I'm guessing at first you'd be wandering around here going like, where are the Digion? I really don't know. They haven't spawned yet, and that is because you to get them to spawn, you have to wait for a bunch of enemies to spawn. So I'm going to put a cut in here and wait for them to spawn, but just so you know, you definitely know they are spawned because they are kind of very hard to miss. So down here, there'll be a bunch of veteran Digion which you have to fight, in this case. I'll cover how to fight them since they are really annoying to fight, along with a bunch of ice elementals and some other stuff. So I'll get back to you once the enemies have spawned, because otherwise it's going to be really boring with just me waiting here for ages until they spawn. Okay, so I've had to wait a short amount of time. It honestly wasn't too long. It felt something around like, I don't know, 12 or 20 minutes. And all these enemies have spawned. So your next task is pretty much just, well, kill them. The Digion here can be very annoying because they will constantly... They have a break bar that's kind of hard to get down. There's sometimes a refresh that said break bar. And as well as that, they also are able to do a lot of damage, and they can stun you no matter what the type. It can be an earth, it can be a fire, it doesn't really matter, it can still stun you. So what I like to do mainly is I like to just not worry about breaking the break bar too much unless I can manage it. Like that ability there I just used. I activated one of my signets to do a massive amount of stunning damage. And if that happens, just then wail on the Digion with no mercy until it dies, like so. So, as well as Digion, you also have to face elementals around this area, and I would be trying to like show you a bit more of how they fight, but unfortunately a bunch of other players in this area have also started to, well, attack them, so they might die fairly quickly. But yeah, as you can see here, I'm right now fighting a fire Digion and also 2 veteran embers. So in cases like these where no one's going to help you, like you can see this person here, they just started to run off and do their own thing, it's best actually to retreat, because I know from personal experience, especially since I'm wearing a Berserker set on this character, I'm not actually able to face and kill those enemies. So that's why, in some situations like this, it's better to just run away, because if you don't run away, and you die, and you don't have a revive orb on you, you will have to go all the way back to the nearest waypoint, which happens to be that waypoint which I've shown you before, and then you're going to have to glide all the way back here. Oh yeah, by the way, any embers you face, such as this one, oh crap. That's another thing that can also happen apparently, where Digion will just come out of nowhere and be like, hey, how you doing? I'm here to ruin your day, what's up? Luckily I was able to kill a single enemy there and just get the hell out of dodge, which is also an excellent tactic for beating these enemies. Oh, and right here I'm using the age-old tactic of let other people tank it and kill it instead. But yeah, apparently, like Hydras in a previous video I made, Digion are a huge pain in the butts, but I kind of already knew this, but I didn't know they were that good at just sneaking up on you. Also, as I was mentioning before, embers such as these are very annoying to certain characters such as the Guardian this Guardian I'm playing here, because I use a heap of fire-based attacks, and they aren't affected by any of that because you can't burn what's already made out of fire. Well, unless it's destroyers. For some odd reason, some destroyers can be burnt. I don't understand why that works at all. Yes, so in my opinion, generally the fire elementals are the most dangerous. Then down from that you have ice elementals because they can freeze you. Fire, by the way, I think fire are the most dangerous because of how much damage they can deal, as you can see here, and they require a lot of dodging. Then next up is ice. They're the next dangerous in my opinion because they're able to use their like ice abilities to stun lock you and stuff like that. And then after that, you have electric because they also have a tiny bit of stun, but they also do a little bit of damage. And then the easiest, in my opinion, to defeat are the earth elementals because they're big, they're chunky, they're strong, they're tanky, but you can just use a bunch of crowd control abilities on them to just keep them knocked down on the floor. And also these are the type of elementals that don't actually reflect things back at you. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, there's this one place called Malkor's Leap in the game. You may have been there. If you haven't, I recommend going there because there's this one statue of Lissa, and it's just got trees all around it. The entire thing is just covered with trees, elderwood trees. People love going there as a gathering spot. They'll gather all the trees, leave their character logged out until like 2 hours later, where the trees respawn, and they gather them again. It's an excellent way to make money, especially if the trees are like starting to go up in price on the trading post. Anyway, the earth elementals in that place will do this really annoying thing where they'll constantly get a reflect buff, and they'll be able to reflect all your ranged attacks against them. Which, as you can see here, I'm using ranged attacks to my advantage a lot to make sure that the elementals pretty much burn to death, and so they aren't able to punch me so much. However, like I mentioned before, the earth elementals in that place will continuously get this buff on them, which makes them reflect projectiles, so you can't do what I'm doing now. Pretty much you kill 2 enemies, and then you immediately retreat, because in my opinion, that's a win for me. That Digin, yeah, he or she can try and kill me, but good luck, pal. I'm running so far away, they're not going to be able to catch me, and now I'm out of combat, and all my health just regenerates. And now I can run back in and kill the Digin on my own. So as I was mentioning with those earth elementals, they'll continuously have a reflect field around them, meaning that you can't really use any range attacks against them, which is an excellent way to defeat earth elementals. These particular earth elementals, though, don't have that. So you can just pretty much continuously back away like I was doing and wail on them as much as possible. And that especially is like wailing on them, as I mentioned before, is an excellent way to defeat Digin because they're so annoying to face. Yep, so down he goes. So I'm pretty much going to put another cut in here because I'm going to come back once I'm going to get back to you once I've gone and dealt with all the enemies around here, because that'll make the Digin spawn. And there's nothing special about them spawning except defeating all the enemies. Once you defeat all of them, wherever they may be, just look up and down along all these platforms, Digin will just spawn. No special animation or anything like that. They kind of just pop up out of nowhere, out of the floor. So yeah, as I was mentioning, I'll see you then. And here they are. I didn't really need a card in the video at all because it only took a few moments to kill the last few ice elementals, and then they spawned. So once all these Digin spawn, what you want to do is go up and talk to each individual one, and then just click on the option which looks like 3 yellow playing cards, which I can't click on because I've already completed the entire quest, I guess, or collection for the skyscales. So just click on all of those and make sure you go to each individual one and click it quite quickly. You can look up later on the wiki what their actual dialogue says. I just recommend doing it really quickly like I did just then, because if you don't do that, someone might get the bright idea to start a fight with these Digin. And I wouldn't recommend doing that, because every single one of them isn't a veteran, they're actually all champions, and you have to face all 4 of them at once. And unless you're an absolute master of the game, you won't be able to fight all 4 of them at once. I was in a squad of 7 people at one point, and we tried to defeat them, and we barely won, and that was only after the second time doing it. The first time, they kicked our asses because we didn't really know how the mechanics work. Apparently, the best way to defeat them is lure them off to one side, and then kind of tackle them one by one, because once you defeat one, they go into kind of a down state that you don't actually kill them, and then they're out of the fight. The reason why you would actually you would actually want to defeat them is to get the Grand Master, like Elder one, the one that I was looking at previously on the wiki to spawn, and then you talk to him and you ask him for a jewel that he'll give you for the Griffin collection. If you are not here for the Griffin collection, though, don't start the fight. Whatever you do, don't start it, because even if all these 3 people Digin here despawn, then all you have to do is wait until all the earth elementals and veteran Digin around this area respawn, kill them, and these guys will pop up instead. If you have 3 or less, or potentially even 5 people, don't try the challenge at all, because they are champion, and they will completely kick your butt. In fact, I'm going to put a link in the description right here, and it's going to link to a certain dude called Lord Hellseth, I think, and I think that's his name, the name of his YouTube channel anyway. He went and defeated all 4 of these Digin on a Scourge character, and he barely defeated them within the time limit. In fact, I think he was playing in a previous update where there was no time limit to defeat them, because I think the video in total took around like an hour and a half for him to defeat them, doing it solo, because his video was sped up to like 5 times the normal speed of a YouTube video. It was bonkers, so you may not even be able to defeat them now, because I don't know if the game developers like updated with a time limit, or if this thing always had a time limit and he's just defeating it really fast. Whatever the case, you have 10 minutes to defeat all these dudes, and why bother when you can just talk to each of them individually and get your skyscale collection going. Anyway, that pretty much covers it for this video. I might cover doing the next parts of the collections, but honestly, for the skyscale of Ice collection, it involves this one place that I hate with a bunch of pressure plates, and it's a gigantic pain in the ass. I'm mainly covering this little part because people seem to be confused about how to get the Digins to spawn. So hopefully you watched this and it was useful for you and you now understand what to do. And yeah, bye for now, unless of course you decide to eventually go and watch one of our other videos. In that case, I'll see you in one of them.